Hello, UPSC aspirants, and welcome to today's highly focused explainer right here on Rungta IAS Academy's channel. We're so glad you could join us. Today, we're decoding the Union Home Minister's latest address, and we're going to translate it directly into high-yield points for your GS Paper 3 internal security syllabus. Let's get right into it.
Absolutely, sir. Now, students, I want you to imagine sitting in the exam hall and seeing this exact prompt. Evaluate the need for a unified global framework against narco-terrorism. This is precisely the type of mains practice question you can expect this year, which makes today's analytical breakdown absolutely critical for structuring a top-tier answer. To answer that effectively, we need to look at the context of today's analysis, which comes straight from a recent, highly significant address. The Union Home Minister spoke at the memorial lecture for Sri Rameshwar Nath Kaul. Let me just repeat that for phonetic clarity. Rameshwar Nath Kaul. He was the visionary founder of India's premier external intelligence agency, the Research and Analysis Wing, widely known as RNAW. The very setting of this lecture, an event instituted back in 2007, really underscores its immense internal security relevance for your preparation. Okay, let's move right into Section 1. The narco-terror threat and rising above geopolitics. We're going to dive into the core problem highlighted in the speech, which is the absolute necessity of rising above individual national interests. The minister made it crystal clear when it comes to the war on drugs, geopolitical differences literally must take a backseat to global security. Exactly, ma'am. And to that end, the minister explicitly distinguished between two immense challenges the world has to fight simultaneously. On one hand, you have narco-networks, which are your transnational criminal syndicates, but on the other hand, you have narco-terror states, where state machinery actually sponsors narco-terrorism. Aspirants, listen carefully. Maintaining this conceptual clarity between independent networks and state actors in your answers is exactly what will fetch you those crucial extra marks. That brings us to Section 2, 4 pillars for global action, and the proposed legal framework. What you're about to hear are absolute high-yield value additions for your mains answers. So how exactly do we build this unified global effort? Well, you absolutely need to memorize these 4 distinct requirements proposed by the Minister for Uniform Global Laws. 1. Establishing a common definition of prohibited substances. 2. Standardized punishments for drug trafficking. 3. The seamless extradition of drug kingpins. And 4. Robust, real-time intelligence sharing. Seriously, keep this ready-made structure handy for literally any global counter-narcotics question you might encounter. And the urgency here is palpable. The minister issued a very powerful warning. He stated that, while there is still time for responsible nations to act, if joint efforts aren't initiated right now, in 10 years, it will be too late to reverse the harm it has caused. Students, I strongly advise you to use this exact sentiment in your essay conclusions. It perfectly demonstrates to the examiner that you truly grasp the immediate urgency of joint global efforts. Right, so let's move to our final segment, Section 3, Vision 2047, a collective responsibility. We've established the proposed global legal framework, but how exactly does this tie into India's specific internal goals and diplomatic outreach? Well, just look at the lecture's theme itself, narcotics, a borderless threat, a collective responsibility. It perfectly encapsulates the inherently transnational nature of this challenge. During the address, a direct call was actually made to the ambassadors and diplomats present to join India's efforts. It requires serious, dedicated, collaborative work to preserve our global social fabric. And India's definitive timeline for this massive undertaking is 2047. The ultimate goal is to achieve a completely drug-free India by this year. I want you to mentally highlight this number. Whenever you're discussing India's internal security targets regarding narcotics, the year 2047 absolutely must be mentioned. Finally, we want to leave you with a provocative thought, one perfectly suited for your UPSC interview round. Ask yourself, can a unified legal framework truly defeat borderless narco-terror, or do deep-rooted geopolitical realities make it an impossible ideal? Ponder that analytical angle as you continue your studies. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we wish you the absolute best in your preparation.